Ever think of a career in law enforcement? Now's your chance. Lancaster PD wants you. Details coming up.
So let's bring in Bryan Munoz from our Pennsylvania station, WHTM. So Bryan, what are workers looking for that wasn't in that tentative agreement?
The biggest sticking point was Kellogg's two-tiered system. Basically, newer workers get paid less and have fewer benefits compared to longer tenured employees. Planes, trains, and automobiles, a cautionary holiday classic about travel mishaps. But right here in the mid-state, so far, no signs of trouble. It's really the first real snowfall of the season, and everything is going smoothly here in Lancaster County. And I guess snow days really are a thing. Live in Warwick Township, Lancaster County, Bryan Munoz, ABC 27 News. Muy buenos días, les saluda Bryan Munoz. Estas son algunas de las noticias más importantes de nuestra área. La comunidad está de luto tras la muerte de 3 bomberos en Baltimore. Así es, fueron muchos los momentos emotivos durante la ceremonia de más de 4 horas. Te quedaste.
Acá abajo están los maletín y se llevan todo.
Afectadas por esta tormenta es Nueva Jersey, donde las acumulaciones alcanzaron un nivel histórico. After 28 years of being Lancaster County's game warden, Greg Graham says this job stays fresh year after year.
No such thing as a typical day. Every day is generally different than the day before, simply because, as a response officer, I will respond to calls that may come in during the day or whatever my patrols happen to encounter.
We tagged along to see how he rolled. It's not just his job or his passion, it's his life.
I don't think people become game wardens necessarily because they like cold weather, rotten conditions, snow, rain, freezing temperatures, 100-degree temperatures, ticks, mosquitoes, and things like that.
They do it to be outdoors, and Graham says it gives him important chances to stop and reflect.
It's quiet.
Is that what you like most about the job sometimes?
Well, I like the solitude at times, let me tell you. I mean, it's nice to have people along and share, with them, but there's times where I do like the solitude.
With license sales up this year and more hunters across PA since the beginning of the pandemic, violations are up too. But for those who dread a visit from a warden, Graham says to remember, it won't always end in a fine.
We can be very, very effective merely by issuing a warning and educating the person on the reason why the law is in place.
Hunters are major economic drivers for Pennsylvania. And on top of bringing in lots of money, they also play an important role in wildlife conservation.
Hunters, a lot of them really don't even understand that what they're doing by harvesting an overpopulation of white-tailed deer is ensuring the viability for white-tailed deer to continue to be on the landscape.
That's why for him, it's all worth it.
We care about wildlife, we care about wildlife habitat, and we care about that it's around for generations that follow us.
In Lancaster County, Bryan Munoz, ABC 27 News. 2 candidates side by side vying for Lancaster's top job. Incumbent Deneen Sirachi and businessman Willie Schell. We spoke to both ahead of next week's election. For Sirachi, who's been on the job since 2018, it's not exactly been a walk in the park.
Where we are today is better than where we were 4 years ago, but for a pandemic.
And says the pandemic complicated some of the work she set out to do. Sirachi inherited a city in financial disarray and a police department in need of an overhaul.
I would say that we're stronger as it relates to community police relations and the after effects of the killing of George Floyd.
So what's on top of the to-do list for Sirachi if she gets to keep her job?
In 7.3 square miles, there's no way that we're going to build all the affordable housing that is needed in our county.
Sirachi says she'd use a portion of the nearly $40 million in COVID relief funds to address those concerns and
to attract workers and to maintain the labor pool.
To do that, she'll have to defeat Willie Schell. a longtime Lancaster resident.
I've lived in the city for over 40 years, and I've seen this city go through many changes, some good and some bad.
And while he thinks the city as a whole is doing better, Shell feels some neighborhoods have been left behind.
The southeast area have not been given the same attention as other parts of the city. For example, we have houses that have been condemned. We have streets that have not been paved in the last 40 years.
So what would Shell do differently as mayor?
Infrastructure, jobs, street cleaning, police, having a better relationship with the police.
His goal is to be mayor for all.
Dr. King have always said that unless we all grow together, then we all perish as fools.
In Lancaster, Bryan Munoz, ABC 27 News.